Let's talk about surrender, because as we are moving through this week, as we are approaching this March 29th solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse that we're going to have, I'm reminded of the need to surrender. And I kept hearing that message over and over. And the collective that I was speaking to in Monday's video, where I was telling you that something huge is about to change and transform in your life, that something big is entering into your life. This message was like piggybacking onto that. And I kept hearing over and over, like, surrender is the key. Surrender is the key. So to fully transition into this new beginning, to allow these karmic endings to end in your life, because there's big karmic endings actually closing out, like karmic cycles that are closing out with the solar eclipse that we're going to have on the 29th, right? But to help that, to assist that, to be in the proper vibrational alignment with allowing, the allowing requires surrender. It requires you to let go. And this is sort of like this final push of like, come on, like you can do this, let it go, like really fully let it go. Let go of the thoughts and the beliefs that probably are still popping up in the mind, that are probably still trying to convince you that something isn't going to work out for you. It's like, don't believe the deceit. Don't believe the illusion that the fear creates in our minds, in your mind, because that is what is going to create that space between you and the destination, you and what you desire. That is what is going to keep that gap present. And how big the gap gets depends on how far down the rabbit hole you go with fear. It depends on how much you give into those limiting beliefs and into those limiting thoughts. And what I'm noticing for myself is that I have to very consciously choose to remain in an elevated state. But it's like, I don't even really need to choose it, because I've already made that choice. I'm already in the energy of like, yeah, 100%, like I'm down for the change, and I'm doing things differently in my daily life in order for that change to really be able to show up. We signal to the universe who we are energetically, right? And because we're constantly signaling to the universe who you are in this present moment, as that person who is in transition, that soul that is leaping from one life to the next, or from one chapter of your life to the next, the presence during that leap is how I'm being shown. The presence, or the level of awareness that you have during that leap, really influences the leap itself. It influences how fast you land, how slow you land, how slow the transition process is. And every single day that I'm waking up, I'm being reminded of this incredible power that we have. And that is the power of choice, of how we each get to decide for ourselves what feels best in any given moment. And nobody can tell you that. Like, and it's no one's job to tell you that. Like, it is up to you to determine for yourself what feels best for me in any given moment. What are the things that I'm now significantly more willing to do that I didn't do before, that I didn't give into before, that I didn't support before within myself? Because I know that the journey is always internal, and the internal journey is always about you choosing a better life for yourself, you choosing to feel whole, to feel worthy, to feel deserving of a beautiful life. And you choosing to maintain that frequency within you, you choosing to connect to it on a daily basis and tap into that and begin your morning with that. Begin the morning with the gratitude. These little daily choices, these are what truly make or break the changes that are coming for us, or how those changes play out. This is what determines which way things are going to go, because it is your energy that is constantly at the wheel of your vehicle, of your soul's vehicle, right? Your consciousness and your choices are what are continuously driving the car. And the question is your car driving forward, or are you in reverse? Or are you driving forward but constantly looking in the rear view mirror? Because that too is going to really influence. You can't drive forward if you're always looking in the rear view mirror, right? And there was a message I was receiving this morning about being very accepting and being in this state of surrender in terms of where you are at this time in your life. I'm talking from all aspects, like in all areas of your life. Just making this very conscious choice to be accepting of that and to not judge it, to not feel like it's not enough where you are or that you haven't done enough to get further, because all of that is the example of you looking in that rear view mirror. You're sitting in the car, you're holding that steering wheel, and you're even pushing the gas potentially. But just think of it this way: when you're driving, as soon as you're like looking in the rearview mirror or your eyes are not straight head on and looking forward, what ends up happening is your foot, and this is completely subconscious, your foot slowly starts to come off the gas. And it's coming off the gas because that's your survival brain basically protecting you, slowing you down, because it knows that you're distracted. It knows that your attention or your focus or your energy is not in the forward direction. It is not looking ahead. So we can't fool the subconscious mind. We can't fool our intuition, our inner knowing. And discernment, along with this surrender. So there's this energy of surrender. There's this energy of release. There's this energy of letting go, of being open, of being excited, of being intuitive and really trusting your intuition, trusting where it is taking you, trusting where it is guiding you. There was a trip that I almost booked the other day. Almost. And then something within me was like, whoa, 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 pause. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. Something feels off. Something doesn't feel quite right. And I couldn't put my finger on it right in that moment. I couldn't. It was just something just didn't feel quite right. And I'm like, okay, let me just hang on here. Let me just pause. Let me just give myself a minute to listen. Because this week, as we are transitioning, as we are, like I said, in momentum already in this upswing of jumping onto a new cliff, jumping onto a new timeline, into a new chapter, as we are in progression, what is necessary during that progression is to really trust your gut, to really trust your intuition, to really use your discernment. Because some of the energies with eclipses, what they tend to do is they'll get us like really excited, or certain alignments on certain days will be like super elevated and you're like super gung-ho and ready to like take action on something. And with taking action on something, I mean like either making a bigger purchase or booking a trip or doing something that is big, that is not your day-to-day thing that you would typically do, right? Anything that is like that you would consider bigger. The energy tends to kind of almost suck us into what, because we feel that change, right? So it's like it sucks us into wanting to do that thing or invest in that thing or make that big purchase, right? But there's something hidden. Always keep that in mind. With eclipses, there's always something hidden. There's always something that we don't see clearly. There's always something that is a little bit illusion delusion. So it's important that as we are transitioning, as we are making this leap, that we are not making choices that are very, I wanted to use the word spontaneous, but there's a different word. Hang on. Impulsive. There we go. So it's like, you don't want to be impulsive at this time. Not when it comes to, like I said, purchases. Venus is in retrograde, and Venus rules money. So when Venus is in retrograde, a big purchase right now could be something that you really regret later. So, or it just doesn't pan out the way that you hoped or that you would expected. Like I said, using discernment and focusing more actually on getting into this like very, very serene, very peaceful surrender energy. And I'm getting this message about like there's a time and place for everything. Certain things in your life, again, if the intuition is like yes, and it's like 1000% yes, those are the things to listen to. Those are the messages that you want to really sit with, channel into, give yourself some space to really explore that intuitive hit or that intuitive feeling. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way about this right now? Is this truly what is best for me? Is this true for me? Asking these kind of questions with yourself is going to it could potentially save you from a lot of headache, from a lot of heartache, from a lot of regrets, right? So just taking time is all I'm saying. Like, take some time, and it's not to scare anyone at all, at all. As a matter of fact, it's about empowering yourself to make the right choices for you, empowering yourself to be conscious enough and to be trusting enough of your own intuition and of your own gut feelings and of your own heart, that whatever needs to happen right now is going to happen anyway, right? And it's going to pan out, because certain things do need to happen. It's not like the world shuts down because we have certain planets in retrograde, right? But it is a time when we are asked to be reflective, when we are asked to really kind of check and double check and triple check, like reevaluate, right? Mercury is also in retrograde. It's like reevaluation energy all week long of, how am I in transition? What choices am I making while I am in transition? How are those choices feeling for me while I am in transition? Am I giving myself the space, the time to reflect, to tune in, to connect to what really feels best? Or am I being impulsive right now? Am I feeling this like, ooh, like this impulsive energy to like take action on something? Ooh, I'm just going to do it and I'm going to go for it, blah, 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 right? But potentially behind that, and this is where like that surrender, that really, and when I'm talking surrender, this is about like letting go of your ego, right? Just like really surrendering into the feeling, into that intuitive hit. And it's not about giving your power away to your intuition, because sometimes the intuition is not correct. Sometimes we feel things, or we will get, a certain feeling about something that could be off, that could be influenced by your ego. So this is why I say not rushing into choices, not rushing into things that you don't necessarily have full clarity about is important. It is very important, because we are so close. We are literally 3 days away from this solar eclipse, and we need to see how the energy is going to play out. Take some time over these next 3 days to really tap into yourself. Make time for meditation. Make time for reflection. Make time for stillness. And stillness is sometimes literally just sitting. I will do this sometimes where I will just sit at my kitchen table. And because I've got my sliding doors right next to my kitchen table, I'm able to just sit there and I can just like kind of look out. And I will sit there and I will just look out. And usually when I'm staring into nature and I'm just looking at the trees, I'm looking at the birds and everything, and I'm just sort of very in like a very neutral space. And when I'm in this neutral space, I find I get messages, I get insight, I get clarity, I get reassurance, I get emotions rising out of me, certain emotions that will come to the surface. And I think that the reason why all of this comes to the surface and why I get that kind of clarity is because I'm in full surrender in that moment. And I'm not thinking about surrendering, I just am. It's like I'm just doing it. And I'm doing it because I'm so at peace in that moment when I'm just like staring out the window, or if I'm just tuning into nature or looking at nature. Like, I find myself so at peace that in that peace is where I find the surrender. And in that peace and in that moment and in that surrender, there's nowhere else I want to be. There's nothing else that I want to be doing. It's like super present moment living. It is this very conscious choice of being in the present moment. And that's where I find I get most of my clarity. And distraction is something that I was hearing all week as well. Yesterday, today, this is a message that has been ongoingly repeating and coming up. And there's a continuous nudging from spirit to just stop the distraction, stop listening to what other people are saying, stop listening to, multiple videos. It's like, give your brain a break, give yourself an opportunity to like actually hear your own voice, your own intuition, your own internal guidance, your own messages. Because you truly can't hear yourself when you constantly have a replay of somebody else's words in your mind. Sometimes the replay of somebody else's words in your mind is the insight, is the guidance. But you got to be so aware to actually recognize if it is, or if it's just your ego, or if it's just a broken record, because the mind will do that. It'll just like repeat, 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 repeat. So really the takeaway I want you to extract from this video is use your discernment. Really, really use your discernment this week in particular, while we are still in this eclipse window, about any big purchases, about, how you are spending your money, really looking at how you are spending your money, what you are spending it on. And really, just really honestly, very honestly, check in with yourself about any big purchases that you're looking at making right now. Is this truly the best time? Is this something that I can put off a little bit? Is this something that I have to do now? Because sometimes you do, and it doesn't mean it's going to play out bad. It's just about trusting your intuition, trusting whatever feels best for you in the moment. But like I said, really avoiding distractions. Let yourself get into flow state. Let yourself get into a state of absolute peace. And you know that you're in flow state. You know that you are in the present moment when you are at peace, because in the present moment, there is nothing but peace. Look at how you are thinking about certain things. Also looking at what actions need to be taken at this time, this week in particular, perhaps this weekend, that are going to end or help you end certain karmic cycles, because remember that it is a solar eclipse. Solar is the sun, right? It's the masculine principle. So masculine principle connects with action, doing, giving. So it's like, what action do you need to take? What needs to change in terms of your behavior? Because behavior is an action. It is how you show up. And getting really honest with the mindset, with the belief system that you still hold within yourself, that you're still hanging on to, that at this time you're being asked to fully release now, to end a certain karmic cycle in your life, to conclude some type of a chapter that has been longstanding and that has been very difficult or challenging in some kind of way for you, right? We're always creating our own destiny. We are always creating our own path, our own experiences through the beliefs that we have, through the lack of action or incorrect action that we take. So it's just sort of a final reevaluation reminder here that I'm trying to encourage you to take, because when we are in these sort of final days before a big astrological event, these are always opportunities to finalize, right? It's like that last little bit of tying up loose ends. It's that last little bit of looking at what works, looking at what doesn't work. Remember that we are beginning a brand new lunar cycle, and this is the very first lunar cycle that we are beginning in 2025. So far, we have been, the moon cycles have been cycles that we have been completing from 2024. So the lunar cycles have been still in 2024 energy, and now we are going to have our very first fresh, brand new moon lunar cycle in 2025. So this is a whole new initiation into a new energy. And that's why I'm saying, really take some time. Look at your stuff, look at what needs to change, what you need to have more awareness of, so that as we begin this new cycle after this solar eclipse, you are in fresh energy, you are in a fresh perspective, you are in a chosen energy of newness. Because remember that we always have free will, we always have free choice, and it is up to each and every single one of us to make a really awesome life for ourselves, to make a life that is truly worth living, a life that we enjoy on a daily basis, not just sometimes, but on a daily basis. And there are things that are going to need to change, that are going to need to be eclipsed out of your life at this time, in the mind and in your physical world, in order for you to have that experience, in order for you to be able to live in that daily, present moment, joyful, intuitive living, where you are making choices from the heart. Remember, we are now in this energy of manifesting from the heart. We're not manifesting from the mind anymore. So how you are feeling on a daily basis matters so much more than what you are thinking. What you are thinking also matters because the two work hand in hand. It's brain heart coherence. However, I think we all know that we're very good at brain chatter and listening to our brains, but this energy is now asking us to listen to our hearts. And even if something feels even just a little bit off or a little bit weird or a little bit not sure, pause. Don't dive straight into it. Just pause. Just give yourself that gift. Let yourself be in your power so that you can make the right choice from a very conscious place, a very intuitive place, rather than through impulsivity. So that's what I wanted to talk about and share in today's message, because this is the energy that's coming through. This is the energy that I'm feeling. So let yourself enjoy your life. Let yourself move into new directions, into uncharted territory, and let yourself take the actions that you know at this point, through everything that you've learned and through everything that you've been through, that you know now, because you have clarity on it, that you need to change, that you need to do differently, because it requires our conscious effort and participation. This is how we co-create with the universe to bring in new experiences into our lives and to move out of stagnation and into thriving. So I want to leave you with that for today, a little food for thought. Think about it and feel into it. Feel into what feels right about this message for you, or what resonates in this message for you, and leave everything that doesn't resonate for you behind for someone else, because then obviously that's not your message. And if you need some guidance, if you need some support at this time, or just clarity to help you see a newer perspective, a different perspective, to help you see what perhaps you're not seeing right now. Because sometimes it's very difficult for us to see our own shit because we're always just in our own heads, right? And an external perspective who is not emotionally or from an ego perspective attached to the thoughts and the feelings that you have on a daily basis can give you insight. So if you are looking for insight, if you are looking for that kind of support, then you can check out the description box. You will find the link to work with me down there. And just a quick reminder that I will have my free live Q&A coming up this Friday on March the 28th, one day before the solar eclipse. So if there's anything that you want to get clear on, if there's any guidance that you feel you need at this time, send me a question. This is free. I'm offering the service as a free way to give back. Send me an email, give me some details, send me your question about what you're struggling with. I will be reading the email in the live Q&A, so just an FYI letting you know. But send me an email and I will be more than happy to tap into the energy to channel whatever is divinely meant to come through for you about that situation or about whatever you're struggling with at this time. And this is something that I decided to start offering this year, at the beginning of this year, because it was I just want to support people in more ways, and in ways that you may not receive support. So like I said, just send me a little bit of a backstory about your situation or what's going on or what you need clarity about. Send me your questions and I will be answering those live this Friday on the 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very, very soon.